Welcome to another DragonLance Saga review episode. It is Palast Reapember the 23rd. I haven't done a Monday one of these in a long time. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to give you my spoiler review of Hederick the Therocrat by Ellen Dodge Severson. I would like to take a moment and thank the DL Saga members and invite you to consider becoming a member if you haven't already by visiting the link in the description below. You can always pick up DragonLance gaming materials by the links below as well. Now, I want to start this off by saying this book for real triggered me, and my review is going to be filled with real world frustrations that are echoed in the actual novel. And I can't help but not bring them up, or I can't help but bring them up because, quite frankly, it's tied to the novel and the action, like the activity that happens in the novel itself. So I want to say this outright. If you are someone who is deeply moved by Abrahamic religions, if it's something that you follow, you worship, you have faith in, that's okay. You might be upset by what I'm about to say. So either don't watch this video or prepare yourself to hear someone's opinion who does not share the same ideas as you do. I have to say that up front because I get into it a little bit. So gird your loins. Is a saying, maybe? All right, and this is also the 40th anniversary of Dragonlance. That's right, this year is 40 years of Dragonlance's existence, and I'm doing a bit of a little celebration with it. So any one of you who would like to contribute, you're more than welcome. Shoot me an email at info@dlsaga.com with your art, your written word, thoughts about Dragonlance or how you came, to be to discover Dragonlance or what it means to you. Maybe you got a video or some sound bites. You can email me whatever you'd like, and I'll put it up as part of the celebration, as long as it's about Dragonlance. And then, on November 1st, I'll reveal them all, and we can all just sort of share ideas and thoughts and, see how other people experience Dragonlance in different ways than we do. I think it's a lot of fun, and I would love more contributors. So if you want to contribute, you're encouraged to do so. All right. The way these reviews work is I've got a pre-written review. If you want to throw up thoughts in live chat, if you're watching this in live, go ahead and do so, and I'll address any comments or thoughts afterward. And then if you're watching this after the fact, put your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll reply to you. All right. Please don't try to convert me. I've lived my entire life of people trying to convert me. I don't care. You live your best life, and I will live mine. I have to say that because I know some people will. All right, this novel has enraged me. Not just because it represents Hederick in a light that's never been shown until now, but it brings back my sheer hatred for his action in the novel and the real-world reflections. The story is framed by ascetics assigned to write his story to earn their place in the Great Library of Palanthas working under Astinus. It begins with his childhood, which again actually endeared me to him for at least a chapter and a half. His mother is an insane woman who shunned her daughter for having magical talent, and her daughter Ancilla left to learn from the Wizards of High Sorcery and would ultimately become a white-robed wizard. The mother claimed to have a vision of a god and took over the entire town under this insanity. When her husband failed to live up to her expectations, she had the townspeople kill him. And when Hederick did the same as a 9-year-old child, she banished him into the wilderness. Now, for clarity, I was kicked out of my childhood home for not conforming to my Mormon parents' worldview. So I understand, or I immediately connected at least, with Hederick as a child. He was fending off a wildcat when a man named Tarsenian rescued him. He was a seeker priest, clearly a charlatan, but Hederick rejected him and his beliefs, believing in his mother's version of foolishness, even still. The man went to the town of Garland and turned the townspeople against his mother and toward the seeker faith, all the while enriching himself. Hederick was fascinated and fell in line with the seeker faith immediately. Then his sister returned to take him, and Hederick was a blind follower at this point. As Tarsenian fell in love with Ancilla, Hederick believed he was a sinner. Hederick gained favor of Tarsenian by poisoning the supposed blasphemers and killing them, and so Hederick realized that he needed to punish his sister and Tarsenian too. He went to the grove where his sister was waiting for him and had a vision of a seeker god, like his mother had a vision of her god. This only convinced him of his righteousness and favor of the gods, then attacked Tarsinian and his sister, taking a magical artifact she was gifted after her test of high sorcery. This protected him from her magic, and the cottage burned down as they fled, and Hederick returned to the village. He had the townspeople murder his mother and then kill each other so that he was the only survivor. Then he traveled south to Haven and Solace, finding Elistan and bringing him to Haven, then taking over Solace. I hate the reality of this novel. Abrahamic religions have been terrorizing mankind in this exact same way since their inception. The Inquisitions, witch burnings, and recently the Satanic Panic, priests molesting and raping children, parents torturing their children at conversion camps because of their sexual orientation, trying to shut down LGBTQ rights, and thousands of lesser infractions that torment and scar people physically and emotionally for their entire lives. Why anyone follows any of these clearly made-up, hate-filled religions is beyond me. They actively make up lies, they kill people for not believing them, or for not living up to their standards. They claim victimhood when actively controlling other people's lives through legislation. The author takes all of this and puts it in Dragonlance, and it drives me insane. Hederick rules through fear, knowing it's all bullshit, but murdering and tormenting, turning neighbor against neighbor, all the while preaching peace. It's like evangelists who pretend to teach Jesus' word but only enrich themselves, and the dupes who follow them are either stupid or blind or both. He has literal witch trials, which men and women have suffered under in our own history at the hands of the good and faithful Christians in Scotland, America, and all over Europe. Then his sister Tarsinian convinces the conclave to allow them to give up their lives in order to stop Hederick because he's so powerful with her artifact. Their souls would then go into Valenwood trees, and their power would go into Ancilla to stop Hederick. And when they face off at a witch trial, Hederick actually wins. It's totally inconsistent with the character from the Chronicles, yet it's set right before it. And I know this is not a real book, but the situations are very true to reality, and I'm actually angry at a fictional character. So I guess the author did a really good job writing a bad guy who is very real in his beliefs and actions, but the irony is that those who follow Abrahamic faith, who have committed these exact acts of evil, would never admit to it, or even see that they're evil. They will live their lives claiming victimhood while actively taking away women's rights, human freedoms, all in the name of their made-up, again, clearly bullshit, Bronze Age fairy tale god. But after saying this, I guarantee you that they will say that I'm the bad guy. Oh, the bitter irony. The story continues with Ancilla reaching out to Tarsinian in spirit form when she's trapped in a Valenwood tree and then decides to steal the diamond dragon artifact protecting Hederick. Then we have a scene where Ancilla tries to collect the artifact herself during a sermon by Hederick, but is unable to, and instead forces him to embarrass himself in front of the congregation. Then Tarsinian tries to connect with the local thieves guild by approaching a girl named Minx. They connect with a kender named Kiffelwit and steal the High Seeker priest Dahos's ring. This convinces Minx to lead Tarsinian to the guildmaster, a half-elf named Gavely. The guild was looking for Tarsinian anyway, and there's a bounty on him, so they're going to turn him in as well as Minx. So Minx leads Tarsinian to her hideout for disguises, and they get rid of Kiffelwit, but he overhears Tarsinian telling Gavely about the diamond dragon, which he wants the guild to steal. The kender wants it as well. Then centaurs witness lumberjacks cutting a Valenwood tree, which reveals a wizard's spirit inside, and they go to tell Hederick about it, but he's in the temple. Oh yeah, there's a massive temple near Crystalmere Lake that was never talked about anywhere else but here. This temple houses a Materbill, which is a beast, that consumes heretics. Dahos sends the centaurs to the Materbill in order to get rid of them, but the kender saves one of them, and then Hederick gets pissed that the centaurs desecrated his temple by simply being in it, and finished his services at the lake so that they can decontaminate the temple. The guards bring a black-robed wizard bound and gagged, and they're about to judge him when the kender cuts his bindings, and the mage casts a spell at the exact same time that Hederick pulls out the mystical artifact dragon, and the kender takes it from him. Then Hederick dies from the spell, but the Kender gives the corpse the dragon back, which heals him and runs off. The aesthetics recording this back at Palanthas are arguing over whether they should be writing the fact that Hederick did in fact die as if to truly kill him. It's unclear if they believe what they're writing forces history or if they're just recording history. But it's obvious to anyone who has ever read Dragonlance that they're recording it as it happens, so I have no idea why this portion is even in the story at all. The Kender actually ended up taking the Diamond Dragon artifact, and Hederick, now healed, is convinced that he was saved by the Seeker gods, and that he has the Diamond Dragon in his necklace pouch. Tarsinian and Minx, frustrated, believing that Hederick has the artifact again, return to the Thieves' Guild to demand an answer from Gavely. He refuses to do the job to steal the artifact, leaving Tarsinian to try to steal it himself. Gavely sends a thief to tail Tarsinian on the off chance that he actually gets the artifact so they can have it and sell it. And the thief is going to kill him if he does get it, and then he can steal it away from him. And then collect the bounty on Tarsinian that Hederick has on him. Minx complains, and she's taken into custody, and she also is the bounty on her now. Kiffelwit sneaks into the Thieves' Guild, finds Minx, and breaks her out, revealing that he has the artifact. They leave and fight over ownership. Minx is worried about Tarsinian going to the Seeker Temple to get the artifact that isn't there, and as they're fighting over it, she is summoned into the Diamond Dragon and trapped. The Kender has no idea where she went and meets a centaur that he ran into before who is going to his forest in order to collect warriors to come back and fight a war with the Seekers. The Kender rides with him, and as they get to the outer Valen Woods where the wizards are trapped inside, they call out to Minx, who manages to get the artifact to touch the tree. The mage inside releases her, and she tells them both what happened and that they need to go rescue Tarsinian. The centaur calls his warriors, and they head out. Tarsinian sneaks into the temple with the thief who saved him from Elacedon, and the thief dies from a blob of blue slime as Tarsinian flees. He gets to the laundry level and is met by the maidens who work there. They end up clothing him and giving him a dagger to kill Hederick with, and I can't help but think of that scene with, oh gosh, what? It was that spoof of the Knights of the Round Table where one of the knights goes into this monastery and they all want to have sex with him. And he's like, well, I guess I could stay a bit longer, the Holy Grail. Anyway, because they're all like really hot and bothered by Tarsinian being there. And they're like clearly drunk. Like it overtly says that in the text. So they're drunk and trying to sort of flirt with him and have their way with him. And he's like, I'm married and I just need to get out of here. It's very funny. Anyway, he sneaks into Hederick's room, but falls into a trap. Gavely informed Hederick that he was coming, and he's put into a cell. He's given a chance to tell Hederick where the artifact is, but he really doesn't know where it is, only that it might be with the Kender, and he's not saying anything. This leads to an execution date, which is the culmination of the entire novel. The centaurs free slaves being led out of the city, and together they're accosted by 3 hags. When they eventually defeat them, they rush to the execution of Tarsinian and end up freeing Ancilla with the artifact. It allows her to release the other mages, and they all have a massive battle. It ends with Ancilla demanding that Hederick destroy his temple, which he does, intending to die inside of it like a martyr, but is carried out by Tarsinian and Minx. The temple is now destroyed, which I suppose explains why it was never mentioned in Chronicles. Hederick is alive and ultimately going to be brought before Verminard. It just suggests that a hobgoblin makes a reference that he won't get along with the Dragon Lord or something like that. But it doesn't happen in this novel. Instead, it focuses on Ancilla dying and Tarsinian and Minx returning to normal life. The sages finish recording the tale of Astinus, who elevated them to full scribes, but one of them decides to live history rather than write it, as he tried to write that Hederick died, only to have it rewritten by the quill itself, proving that they couldn't change history, only record it. This is a wildly frustrating novel that made Hederick out to be so much more influential and powerful than he ever was in the modules or other novels. I don't think I minded the change, but it didn't contextualize him any more than the King Priest, believing that he was doing good even when it was actively evil, and wanting to be an all-powerful god, overtly saying that. And while I'm not a fan of religion, if you couldn't tell, this story brought that out in full force. I don't believe this was a consistent novel with the main character, which is the whole point of the novel. So, if you're easily triggered by religion like I clearly discovered I was, I might suggest you steer clear of this novel. If you want to enjoy a wacky Dragonlance story and don't care about religion, you probably would like this novel, to be quite honest. So, check it out. It was well written, and the other characters were really interesting, just not Hederick. So, my final conclusion is this is not a novel for me, and I should not have read it because I didn't learn anything new, and it just made me mad. So that is life. What are you going to do? Have you guys read this? I'd be interested to hear your take on this novel, and I understand that my perspectives may lie in direct opposition of yours. I will respect your right to share your ideas, but in turn, you got to respect mine, all right? So that is it for my review of Hederick the Therocrat by Ellen Dodge Severson. What did you think of the parallels with real-world religious events and Hederick's? Do you mind having established character be realized completely different from the Chronicles? And finally, are you glad that the secret religion went the way of the dodo? Feel free to email me at info@dlsaga.com or leave a comment below. I would like to take a moment and remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. This all goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the Dragonlance Saga, so thank you for joining in that celebration. So until next time, my name is Adam for Dragonlance Saga. Slanjavar.